Are you diving into the world of Express and React for the first time? It can be a bit overwhelming, especially when deciding how to structure your projects. But don't worry, you're in the right place. Today, we're exploring whether to keep your server and client code in the same project or separate them. I totally get it. Coming from a Microsoft background, it makes sense to want to keep things organized. Many developers face this dilemma when starting with new technologies, and it's completely valid to seek guidance. So let's break down the question at hand. Should you keep your Express server code and React client code in separate projects, or combine them into one? This is a common question for newcomers, and it's important to weigh the pros and cons of each approach. Understanding the structure of your application is crucial. Keeping them separate can lead to better organization and easier maintenance, especially as your application grows. However, combining them can simplify development and deployment, especially for smaller projects. Stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of which approach might work best for you, plus some tips to make your development process smoother. To begin, the user should consider the structure of their application. Keeping the Express server and React client in separate projects is a common practice, especially for larger applications. This approach allows for clear separation of concerns. The user can develop, test, and deploy the server and client independently, which can enhance scalability. On the other hand, keeping both the Express server and React client in the same project can simplify development for smaller applications. This can streamline the setup process and reduce configuration overhead. However, the user should be aware that this approach may lead to a more complex project structure as the application grows. It can also complicate deployment if the server and client need to be hosted separately. Ultimately, the choice depends on the user's specific needs and the scale of their application. They should weigh the pros and cons of each approach to determine the best fit for their project. Fun fact, did you know that the first web applications were built with a single file? We've come a long way since then, and now we have the flexibility to choose how we structure our projects. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. One user suggests keeping the server and client code as separate projects. This approach allows for easier management of dependencies and unit tests. Additionally, if you decide to switch to a different front-end framework in the future, you can do so without affecting the server. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. This user suggests keeping the server and client code in separate projects. They believe that each project should focus on a single target, which aligns with industry practices and expectations. This separation helps avoid tightly coupled designs and long build times. They also mention that developers should have tools to easily navigate between projects, and they recommend using automated build systems and versioning in Package.js to manage dependencies effectively. Here's a tip. If you're just starting out, consider keeping your projects combined. It can simplify your learning process. As you grow more comfortable, you can always refactor into separate projects later. And there you have it. Whether you choose to keep your Express and React code together or separate, the key is to find what works best for you. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks on your coding journey.